What's up, teammates? Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of yelling going on out there, and a lot of misplaced anger. There's a lot of windbagging and a lot of you know finger pointing, and which the finger pointing is warranted. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of fingers, and there's a lot of pointing to be done. But the overreaction is rough again. Um, and you know what? It's it's warranted in many ways, but the upset we can be upset with, right? And we can feel like we are going in the wrong direction because of what happened. But the whole same old Raiders, and now we're gonna suck from now on. We only had one decent quarter, and now all of a sudden our defense is you know over overrated, and Raiders fans are really quick to. But all fans are quick to get mad at their team, not just Raider fans. So I'm not gonna say that like we're the most evil fans on the planet. Not at all. We're more aggressive fans, but that's just Raider people. We love hard, you know, and that's the way it is. That's the way we feel about the game, and that's okay. The negativity, the anger, the, the displacement of blame, the that's too much. That's unnecessary. Um, I got so many things that I want to get into. Usually, I have a list that I kind of glance down at, and I come up and try to make everything kind of seamless, or not necessarily seamless, but try to get all my points out as I'm talking, not necessarily, try to hold it up and go down. And anyway, I try to do it as well as I can. But this time, there's so many things that I'd like to talk about that I really am going to go just topic for topic. And I wrote these topics down like kind of randomly, actually, as they entered while I was watching other shows and things that people said, and things that just going too far. So I decided I'll just go ahead and react to all of those reactions. Now let's start with, I went to the game, and you know how they say you can see the field when you see the game, when you're at the game. You can only see what the ball is doing when you're watching the game on television. So watching the television version and thinking Gardner Minshew was terrible, that is nothing close to what the live version of Gardner Minshew was. Gardner Minshew was terrible. And you know what? I got on my 12 jersey. Of course, I'm always about Aiden O'Connell. And you guys who are watching me know that too. But the truth is the truth. And Gardner Minshew just blew it. The whole stands, everybody in the stands saw what was going on except Gardner Minshew. And what I mean by saying what was going on is I'm sitting in the crowd. It's people in front of me. It's people to my right, my left. We're all Raiders fans. I got tickets on the visitor side because that's cheaper. You know what I'm saying? But wherever I was, there was like a chunk of Raider fans. There wasn't a lot of Carolina Panther fans either. There was a sprinkle, you know. It wasn't like overflowing. It was a real good 85, 15%. But anyway, we're next to each other watching the game, and when you're watching the game, over on top of the field, you can see even more than the quarterback can see because you have a better angle. But they're on the field and they can see it right there in real time, face to face. The fans and I were calling the play multiple times, saying, "Okay, that linebacker stepped up here. He's going to do this route. He has to look for Jacoby." Like one play in particular, we have The middle linebacker drops. We have Brock Bowers in slot. We have Jacoby Myers out here. Devontae's on the other side. They send Brock in motion. When they send Brock in motion, now uh, this weak side, this linebacker who was the Mike, who was going to be the blitzer, now he doesn't even have to act like he was going to cover the tight end because there's no one on his side. So it's obvious that he's going to blitz because you can tell as soon as the tight end left, he came up to the line of scrimmage. So with him doing that, he opens up a big pocket behind him, right behind him. So once Jacoby Myers comes in on the skinny post, he's going to hit him in stride and he's down. He's gone. I mean, he'll have to beat the safety, but he's behind the linebackers and he'll be coming at the safety's top speed. Everybody's in the state. Everybody around me saw it. Everybody around me called it and say, we got it this time. He's going to hit Jacoby. And no Jacoby. When you're there, you can see when the people are open and you're like, why is he looking that way when the person who's wide open that we're all looking at is over there? I'm not dogging Gardner Minshew because I wanted Aiden O'Connell to start. I'm dogging Gardner Minshew because I was at the game in real time seeing how much he wasn't seeing. And you come home and watch. I didn't even come home and watch it. That's the reason I didn't actually do a show last night. I was, do the review, but I was like, I can't handle it. I can't watch this game again right now. So I'm gonna do it tonight. And that's really all I was gonna do. I wasn't gonna do a show, but I figured watching the negativity and anger out there, maybe, the few of us who's come here, we get at least some positive feeling about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to trash Minshew the whole time. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? And, facts is facts. And Minshew is not a good quarterback. He's a good football player, and his football abilities didn't show up this game because the Carolina Panthers had a good strategy. They know Minshew won't throw it deep. They did the same thing that Baltimore tried to do, except they pulled it off better because Minshew had a worse game. And that's really all there is to it. Both teams said, we're going to stay 12 yards away from the line of scrimmage and dare Gardner Minshew to throw one over our heads. Pray that he beg him to. Go ahead. And he did once. And we got him. And we scored. And he never did it again. But that's not the reason we didn't win. That's not the reason that Gardner Minshew did a bad job. It's not because he didn't get it downfield. It's that he doesn't read the play before the snap and doesn't go where the ball needs to be. And if you look at when Gardner Minshew's in there and he's getting sacked, a lot of times his sacks come out of the pocket. Now, we know it's because he's a scrambler, but it's also has a lot to do with the fact that he's so willing to leave the pocket to make a play because staying in the pocket and being a quarterback is not his thing. And he gets there and he's like, okay, they tell me that I'm supposed to stay here and get the ball out in 3.5 seconds. And if I haven't gotten the ball out in 3.5 seconds, I'm out of here. And, that doesn't work all the time, especially, it seems like they learned how to keep him, uncontrolled as far as making his, Minshew magic open. He does the same thing each play. And when you watch it live, it's like more obvious. It's step back, 3.5 seconds. I don't see anybody trying to make a play. Now, step back 3.5 seconds. Let's see. No. He runs away from blocking because if the team's blocking here and even if they're doing a decent job, he runs away. Well, then all they have to do is change the angle. The team is trying to block this direction, and if they feel like they're doing a good job, but Minshew just shoots off that direction, how can they block that? Anyway, it's not a Minshew dog session. I got other things to get into. It's just saying it's really evident to me, and everybody understands, honestly, that Minshew is a bad quarterback. And now it's just painfully obvious for everybody to look at those last 12 quarters and see that he only had one successful half quarter. And it's 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 predictable, dog. I'm just gonna say it, man. It was predictable. I knew he couldn't do it. I knew it. I knew that he was gonna go with this Minshew magic stuff, and that's not sustainable, man. But he tried. He did what he could do. And he can't do that. He can't play quarterback. And Antonio Pierce knew that. I don't know how he made it to the starting lineup. I really don't. But honestly, as far as an Aiden O'Connell fan, as far as wanting him on my team and being our starter quarterback, this is the best way it could have possibly happened for Aiden O'Connell. I'll get into that later. I just right now want to talk about the live feed, the eyes on, visuals that we got, the response that I was getting from the people around me. Because, I don't have any friends. You know what I'm saying? I got kids. I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I'm sitting here complaining to myself saying I saw this happening, but, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'm armchair quarterbacking. Maybe this or that, right? So I can't necessarily say. So I don't necessarily say what I think happened as opposed to what happened. I try not to as much, especially if I haven't watched any film on it. But live action, man, you can see the mistakes, man. You can see who's open and why he's not looking that way. You can hear the whole crowd at one point say, "Throw it!" because the guy was open. It was that Jacoby play. All the people around me at the same time were just like excited because we knew it was coming. And all he had to do was throw that ball to him, and he was looking the other way, trying to force him to pass the other direction. But he's not a good quarterback. And many people who wanted him to start lamented that he wasn't a good quarterback, but that the Minshew magic would take over. And he would win games. And you know what? It saves us last game. The Minshew magic of the fourth quarter made it happen for us last game, and thank goodness, because that really saves our season. We could be 0-3 right now, terrible lead, and just be disgusting. So, off to the sheet, right? After the game, Pierce is pissed, as he should be. His statement about business decisions and players not necessarily putting all their all into it. There's frustration out there. There's a lot of frustration out there. And it wasn't. It felt like there was just a dark curse over the whole damn building. It really did. It really felt like it wasn't going to go right. Like no matter what happened, we weren't going to be able to buy a break. We had a chance at a better field goal position, and it didn't go the right way before the half. Means you could have done things differently. We would have been able to have a closer field goal. Not saying that he would have made a 50-yarder as opposed to a 57-yarder. It's just we had a chance at that, and we didn't get that. We got the 57-yard field goal. With we're putting a lot of pressure on Danny Boy. He's like, we need some points here, and we weren't able to pick him up. it's, Danny Boy's the man, and he missed it, and field goal misses happen. So it's understandable that he was mad. I just don't understand who he was talking about when he was saying business decisions. And one thing I do agree with is that maybe he shouldn't have said it, but in the passion after the game, when you mad at who did what they did, um, you want to say something. You can't say everything. You can't say what you want to say, and you definitely can't say what you know you're not supposed to say. But you want to say something. Then and he got what little bit off his chest that he could, and he felt like some of his team gave up, and I feel like that's what he was coming at with it. Maybe he was thinking something completely different. Um, but that's where I felt like it was coming, and I don't mind. I encourage calling out your players. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Phil Jackson was the master of calling out his players. He always got the best out of his players. So I don't mind calling out your players. I think that's a good idea. It's positive. Um, but I think he was so pissed off he just said executive decisions because he felt like saying that was better than saying what he wanted to say. But then when he said that, it still sounded pretty bad. But you know, frustration and festivity, dog, it can take over. So next, look, we started to make the changes. Let's keep the changes made. We're not passing the ball well because Gardner Minshew is our quarterback, and we're not running the ball well because we're going with Zeus. He's not going to be able to do it. He's when you're now. This is the flip. When you're watching the game live, you can't really tell what's going on with the run game. You can't see. It's just a scrumble and a mumble inside, and you don't really know why what went this way from that angle. You can see, you know, the action, but not exactly why it developed the way it developed. So it's interesting to see how much better you can see the pass game and how much better you can see the run game when you get home. Because on the field, it looked like the run game was struggling because there wasn't a lot of movement. And it wasn't that. It was Zamir White does not know how to find the holes. He doesn't know how to find the holes, and he doesn't know how to follow his blockers. And he's a grab and go back. And if he goes the wrong way, he's just going to run into the line and fall. And if he goes the right way, we could get yardage. He hasn't been going the right way this year. Uh, if we're going to get rid of Minshew, which I hope we do, I don't know. We'll see what they do. I can understand if they say we said we're going to give them the quarter. This is only 3 games into the 4 of the quarter. We're not going to pull them just on that alone. I can see that type of mumbo jumbo coming out. I hope not, but if it does, and we pull Gardner, I say we just go ahead and pull Zeus too, because Alexander Madison can find the holes, and he can catch the ball, and the other Amir, no, anyway, the other running back, I think is anyway. He can get out of the backfield too. He's not uh, great at in the behind the line of scrimmage, and he's actually a decent pass blocker for a third round back. When you're at the game, man, you can see like why when Gardner Minshew was leaving the pocket too soon, because you're like, why are you going there? Everybody's blocking for you. There's nobody around you right now. You still got you know 2 yards to each side. There's no need for you. Just because someone's in your face doesn't mean that you got to take off. Just late. But he's not a good quarterback, and he's 1, 2, 3, run. So you know, I don't want to get sidetracked by that. Zeus needs to follow the holes, A-Man follows the holes better than he does. Let's change the quarterback. Let's change the running back. I'm pretty sure we're going to get better work out of it. I really do. Okay. I can't stand people saying the same old Raiders. Shut up. Shut DF up. Okay. I know, long time. Raiders fans in it. It's been like this for a long time for us as Raider fans. Okay. But it's not the same old Raiders team because it's completely different people on this team. Okay. If you want to say it's the same old Raiders as the Raiders from last year to this year, then fine. But the Raiders last year wasn't all that bad. And the Raiders this year are terrible, especially in the second half of last year. At least we went 500. Okay? It's better than that. But this year, with Gardner Minshew, we're not going to do it. But it's not the franchise's fault. And it's not Gardner Minshew who was bad when Jimmy Garoppolo was the starter. And it's not Jimmy Garoppolo who was bad when Derek Carr was the starter. If you guys are talking about the same old Raiders, when it's been 5 different coaches since the last 5 years, how the hell can it be the same old Raiders when it's not even the same old coach? And the market's growing and changing so fast, it's not even the same old owner. He was a lot worse as an owner before than when he came here and figured out some good stuff before he got to LV. Why are people blaming AP? What did he do? What did he do? He 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 put Minshew in, but that was a team decision, right? That was Telesco, Getsky, and Pierce. And in my opinion, I feel like he got outvoted. Why are you blaming him? Even if he did choose him. So it's his fault that Minshew is doing bad. Okay. Then that means we need to put in Aiden O'Connell, right? Because if he chose the wrong quarterback and it's AP's fault, then we should just go with Aiden because he made the wrong choice, right? If he's a bad quarterback, if he's a bad head coach. But then those same people are saying that AOC sucks and we can't put him in too bad early. It's just Minshew had mistakes and you can't just throw him out because of a bad game or 2 bad games. But you can. Will they? I don't know. But I do know that AP is not to blame. And you know what? There's really nothing that anyone can point at to say that he's to blame for. They can say that, is it his fault that the defense scheme didn't work right? No. That's on Patrick Graham. Is his fault that the offense couldn't get anything together? That's on Getsky. What is his job? His job is to control everything and to help the offensive and defensive coordinators with their planning, along with his idea and vision for the team. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to do as far as the vision of the team, the head coach can't make anything happen. You can't blame AP for the loss just because he's the head coach. Completely blame him anyway. He's the head coach, and of course the blame goes on his shoulders. But blaming him and saying that he should never be here, she should have never been here, and the offense and defense were bad because he's a bad head coach is not the truth. It's not the way of it. He's the head coach because of his knowledge. His head coaching knowledge is helping them put their stuff together. He's the head coach to get the team ready. He's the head coach to tell the offensive and defensive coordinators how to put a scheme together so we can be cohesive and understand where each side is trying to go and have him be in the middle and say, this is how we're going to put it together. Offense comes with their scheme, defense comes with their scheme. We all work together to come up with a scheme. So it's the coach triad, and you can't blame one without blaming all. Though it is the head coach who makes the ending decisions. But to say that he's a terrible coach because the plans didn't work out, because the players didn't execute, is not correct. Uh, it's overreaction, in my opinion. Uh, Minshew, Minshew just got worse as the game went on. The hope was there early. I mean, the 3-and-out hurt in the beginning, but then the next drive he came back. I'll do the game by game, but let me just go back to the next drive. His longest drive, he had the big completion to Trey Tucker, and everybody was back into it, back into feeling like, oh, okay, here we go. He's going to pick up from where he left off, and it got it. It got. I'm not trying to diss Minshew to death. I'm just saying what happened. It just got worse from there. It went from a 10-play drive to a 5 to a 4 to a bunch of 3-and-outs to another 4 to a 3-and-out to a turnover. It went from a touchdown and a 50-yard bomb of hope to interception in prevent defense thrown directly to the other team. Okay. Now, blaming the defense, dude, I understand. And I'm going to go into it when I go into it a game, play by play, because especially being at the game and going through it play by play, I can tell you a little bit more of what, because, I got the visuals in my head of what actually happened in the play. So there's another angle for me, and I can tell you much better the play by play tonight when you guys watch that. This is probably going to go long, and the other one is to I hope you stay around, because, or maybe I'll divide it. We're at 27 minutes. We'll see where I get. I'll stop at about 30, and we'll call it an episode, right? Blaming the offensive line. It's not fair. The offensive line did what they can do. They give up a sack because that's what happens. We gave up a couple of sacks. There was a lot of pressure. I don't think people understand how a quarterback can put pressure on himself. If he's being protected in a certain direction, and instead of staying and trying to make the pocket work for him, he tries to escape the pocket instead of giving his blockers a chance to keep the pocket clean. He creates his own. He creates his own pressure. He creates his own sacks, because a lot of time it didn't have to happen. And he's not. And if a quarterback reads the play correctly and is understanding of the hot routes, then he wouldn't be worried about holding on to the ball, and the sacks would be accumulate less, not necessarily less, but he would be able to find receivers more readily if he stays in the pocket, because the plays are designed around the quarterback being in the middle of the field in the pocket to distribute. And if your quarterback can't do that consistently, you can't be a consistent team, because you don't know where the ball is coming from consistently, and you don't know if you were supposed to be a decoy. If, oh no, Minshew messed up and here he comes, I got to make up a different route, because I was just on the decoy route. I was just on the straight. The work is all over there. And it looked like it was going to work, but here he comes over here. I got to make something happen. I got to come back to the ball, get open. That's what you have to do when you have a quarterback who's mobile and doesn't have a lot of pocket presence. And that's what we have at quarterback currently. Um, so I just went through the blame game. Okay. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to go through the other side of it, which is who is to blame, right? This was about who is being blamed on the outside looking in. And looking at the game, I'm just going to tell you who I think is to blame. And yeah, it might turn into a mental bash session, but if it's his fault, then it's his fault. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just going to say it's all his fault. I'm going to show why, whom's fault it is. Yeah. And then I'll, explain it better. So if you guys are watching the next one, I'll see you in a couple of seconds. If you're not, I'll see you when you watch it the next time. And right now, I know that you know that we can't win them all and that the clouds get dark. And you got to look for the silver lining sometimes. So come to the silver lining. Guru out.